After being shot down over Vietnam, Paul Galani was a prisoner of war for nearly 7 years in North Vietnam. During that time, his wife Phyllis led the civilian effort back home to ensure that American POWs were not forgotten. In honor of the Galani's patriotism, the new addition to the Virginia War Memorial will be named the Paul and Phyllis Galante Education Center. Wonderful tribute.
You know, getting asked to talk at a thing honoring heroes is a little embarrassing, because I'll tell you, all those, the firefighters being honored and civilians, the police officers, they don't consider themselves heroes. I've known a lot who would fit into that category, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about several of them right now. My first, I think, was a colonel at the time, Robbie Reisner, the senior Air Force POW who spent 5.5 years in solitary confinement in a cell 7 feet by 7 feet. His crime for this awful punishment was trying to lead us younger officers in the right direction and to back our countries. He was an incredible guy, and he still is. He's still alive, and but an inspiration. As retirement for General Reisner, Ross Perot stood up and announced that they worked out with the Secretary of the Air Force to name a trophy for the #1 fighter pilot in the Air Force each year after Reisner. So the Reisner Trophy each year is presented to the #1 fighter pilot in the Air Force. And there's Jim Stockdale, probably one of the smartest human beings I've ever known. PhD in philosophy from Stanford, a master's degree in aeronautical engineering from MIT, and a Naval Academy where he was salutatorian. But Jim Stockdale got the Medal of Honor in Vietnam as our leader, and the reason he got it was they wanted him. It was easy. All he had to do was just tell us to cooperate, and he wouldn't have any problem. And they beat him to within an inch of his life. He refused to give an order to us to cooperate with the Vietnamese. But my biggest hero died last week up in Annapolis. We had a funeral at the Naval Academy, and there are 5,000 people. I don't know if you've ever seen the Naval Academy Chapel, but it's huge. And there were 5,000, since the ACLU has decided you don't have to go to church anymore, it's not filled very often, but it was filled for this funeral. And it was a tribute to one man who'd made a difference. If it had not been for an act that John Ripley performed, probably the most heroic act ever performed by anybody in uniform anywhere, on Easter Sunday, 1972, I'd still be in North Vietnam. Because what John Ripley did was blew up a bridge, the bridge at Dong Ha in the demilitarized zone, just south of the demilitarized zone, being shot at by 200 tanks and 20,000 troops. His orders were to hold that bridge or die. And so he said that really eliminated a lot of options. So he said, when you're not worried about getting out of it alive, you can do a lot of things you don't expect. And Ripley crawled out hand over hand under this bridge on steel I-beams hanging 50 feet above the water, carrying 50 pounds of high explosive each trip and packing it into this bridge. He jumped up on top of the bridge, got shot 3 times as he's running away from the far side of the bridge, and the bridge blew up while he's running. It picked him up and threw him 100 yards. And he turned around and saw just blank space. The North Vietnamese Armored Force was stopped. They couldn't come through, and if they'd gotten through, South Vietnam would have fallen in 1972 without an agreement, and I'd still be over there. There'd be absolutely no reason to release any of the POWs if that had happened. So not many people know that, but John Ripley is one of my heroes because of it. And just like all those wonderful folks sitting over here are heroes, the valorous firefighters and EMTs and or EMSs and the civilians, police officers, they don't consider themselves heroes. And I'm honored to be here because I certainly don't consider myself a hero, and to be in a company of them makes me really feel good. See, but they're not heroes. They were just doing their duty. And I'm sure that's the way they felt like it's something you should just do They did their duty because it was the right thing to do. Thank you.
We're honored to present Officer Robert Sturdivant and Trooper Christopher Flaherty with a Bronze Valor Award. And accepting on behalf of his son, Christopher, Colonel Stephen Flaherty. We are honored to present Sergeant Sean Adams and Sergeant Leonard Broadnax with Bronze Valor Awards. For their bravery and decisive actions and for putting their own lives in danger, we're honored to present Officer Todd Jones and Officer Ruddy Zhao with a Gold Valor Award. For their teamwork and life-saving actions, we're honored to present Lieutenant Jeffrey Butler and Lieutenant Gary Griffiths with a Bronze Valor Award. For her displayed level of bravery and decisive action, we're honored to present Officer Michelle A. Harper with a Bronze Valor Award. For his decisive and selfless action, we are honored to present Officer Edward J. Lebaugh with a Bronze Valor Award. For his determination and commitment to a safe and secure educational environment, even at risk of personal injury, we're honored to present Deputy Sheriff C. Thomas Eves with the Bronze Valor Award. For his selfless act of heroism, we're honored to present Mr. Mike Williams with a Citizens Valor Award. For their bravery, quick action, and selfless acts of heroism, we are honored to present Mr. Brian Gordon and Mr. Barry Martin with Citizen Valor Awards.